live stream, so hopefully it's working out well. Okay, so my goal with this is to go around maybe 30 minutes, and I'm just going to show different uh, yellow Sally patterns or different ways to tie the yellow Sally fly. Um, and then first, before I get started and stuff, in the February update video that I did, I mentioned how I'll be attending the Sowbug Roundup in Mountain Home, Arkansas, but things have actually changed, um, so I won't be doing that, this year. Look forward to doing it next year. Um, so unfortunately, that's the way things go sometimes, and so something else came up, and um, but it's still, like I said in the other video and stuff. It still sounds fun. Um, Everything that people who have went have told me about it and stuff. So, um, but yeah, a little bit about the uh, yellow Sally. It's a small, brightly colored stonefly, is what it is. Most of you who watch this probably know what a yellow Sally is. They're either a yellowish or a green. They have two tails, two antennas. Their life cycle is egg, nymph, and adult. And then they hatch anywhere from the spring, which is mid-May, through the summer and early autumn. And they live all around the United States. So we have them here in Missouri, and um, yeah, so they're pretty common. Which I actually have one tied right here, a little loose right there. Um, um, which would be better? I'm trying to reach around this thing. So that right there. This particular one is a yellow dubbing body, and this is a size. This is either a 12 or a 14. I think this one's a 12. Make it a 12 here. Yeah. So this particular one is on a size 12 hook and yellow dubbing and a white marabou wings. So that's one way to tie them. Hello. So in 2024, this was my most successful fly, a yellow Sally. Tied a couple of these for a couple of my friends, and then yeah, the it was successful for my friend as well. So here in Missouri, we have different trout parks. We have Bennett Spring, then we have Montauk, which is down on the Current River. Then we have Merrimack and Roaring River. So those are different trout parks. This particular fly, could work for anything. Could work for crappie or bluegill, but it mainly trout. Trout eat yellow Sallies and stuff. So last year when I'd given my friends a couple of those, that was down at Montauk State Park, down on the Current, and that's where it was successful. So, but yeah, I'll go ahead and I usually tie these on a 12 or a 14. So let's actually, for the first one, to do it similar to what I did there, let's tie it on a 14, or sorry, a 12. So this is a caddis hook. So instead of it being, here, I'll just hold up another one. I don't know if you can see it from there. So where this hook has like a straight hook shank there, this one sorry, all my tying materials getting all over here. This one curves around more. So this is what's called a caddis hook. and so yeah, so this is a caddis hook, so that's what I use when I tie the yellow sallies. And then so take some yellow thread, and again throughout the live stream my goal is to tie different ways you can tie a yellow sally. So cut off a little tag in there. Then I'm going to create what's called a dubbing loop. Then I got a dubbing tool here, and it goes through the loop, and then it just kind of hangs on. Easier to see if that wasn't there. It just hooks on both sides of those. So now I've got this loop here. So, and then I got all different kinds of dubbing. I'm just going to take a little bit of yellow dubbing, which is just yellow. I assume it's cotton fibers. So you can take that. And I'm going to thin it out and kind of stretch it in this opening there around kind of the whole length. And then you just use this to twist. And so basically the thread tightens around the dubbing, secures it all there. And this may be a pretty thick bodied one. We'll see. So I just go around there a couple times, and then I start doing touching wraps. Just like that. And yeah, I got way too much dubbing, but I'm going to go ahead, wrap it 2 or 3 times here on top of that dubbing, and then 2 or 3 times here in front of that, and then I just cut that. I can pull the dubbing off the string and get the dubbing tool off there. So I'll just throw the string down there, and this little bit of dubbing we'll probably use in a second. So the way that I've made it, trim up some of that. Like I said, in this example, I'd used the marabou feathers, which is just white feathers. So I've done it like that. Then I've also done, grab this, get it off the shelf there, right there. So this is streamer hair, and it's basically dubbing. I specifically don't know, or I don't know if this specifically has like a use other than dubbing. It's, you know, when you rip it and stuff, it's short like dubbing, so it's not, even though it says streamer hair, it's not long to where it'd be long fibers like a bucktail. So for this first example, yeah, go back to my dubbing and tear off a little bit of white dubbing and kind of twist that into kind of a thread or a rope, and then over the top, and over the top again, bring that back, round, 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 push that back away from the hook eye, and like that to kind of tighten it down. So May just end up cutting that. And then I do a half hitch on all of mine. Do 2 half hitches, then I can cut the thread away. And then actually I'm going to take some Sally Hansen's, and that's Sally Hansen's Tough as Nails. So it's a good sealant, and the half hitch may hold, but I just feel better adding a little bit of Sally Hansen's on there. It's waterproof, it's a good sealant. So that is how I would tie it, just using only dubbing. So that's one way of tying it there. Another way, and again, using a size 12 caddis hook. And these can be in size 12 or 14 are the usual sizes, and what size I tie them in. So we'll go round with the yellow thread again over the hook shank, cut away the tag in. Hello? So I'm going to take some of that yellow I had from before. I'm going to tear that apart. Going to make the dubbing loop, and I'm going to do it a lot shorter than what I did before, or what I did a moment ago. Take the dubbing tool in there, and there we go. And so now, tearing up, need just a little bit more dubbing material. So then I'm just going to fit it into that dubbing loop. It'll be easier to see, but yeah, just put all that dubbing material in there, and then start twisting it, which I should have pushed it up closer to the hook shank. Oop. Then again, go around in touching spirals. Then I'm going to do 2 or 3 wraps over the top, pull it back, then 2 or 3 or a couple more here on the front. Snip away that excess. Like I said, with this we can get the dubbing tool off of it, and I can basically take all this dubbing I didn't use, slide it off, throw away the thread. I can use that for another pattern. Like I showed with the first one, you can do it in all dubbing material. This one, I'm actually going to tie in white ostrich herl. I'm going to do 2 of them to make a wing, or 2 wings. And cut it back that far. And there. Cut it the same length there. And then again, do a half hitch. Yep, this can be done in yellow or green. Cut that off, and I'm going to use the Sally Hansen's. Yellow Sallies, although they are called Yellow Sallies, they will either have more of a yellow hue to them or more of a green hue. And I'll actually show that in a little bit. Any of the patterns or any of the ways that I tie them and stuff, they could be done in either of those. So this one, if I can get it to focus. So has two full-size separate wings. Let me see if it works better without that light there. Kind of. But yeah, so two full-size wings. So where in the first one, I made, it was all out of dubbing. The second one, the wings were ostrich herl. So that's another way to do them. So then another way, again, I'll do a size 12. And as I go, I'm going to be getting a little bit more complex or more steps added to it. I'm not sure if one will work better than the other. I know that the more popular colors is a regular yellow like what I'm using. In my experience, in 2024, with this being the most successful fly that I personally fished with in different areas, and this being the solid yellow, that was the more successful one for me. Other parts of the United States, I'm not sure what would work there. But again, the one where both me and my friend had success was in Montauk State Park, which is down on the Current here in Missouri. So for this next one, I'm going to again create a dubbing loop. And there we go. And again, some yellow dubbing. I'll try and not use as much because past two had a little bit too much. And sometimes that's a guessing game with how much dubbing to use. Okay. And it's also an example of the more that you practice a fly, the more you're going to get used to the specific, amount of dubbing to use, the specific amount of thread wraps, the specific size of foam, depending on whatever the pattern is. So wrap it around again. And again, wrapping in touching spirals. Twice over that, pull it back to expose the eye of the hook, and a couple times there, and we'll snip that away. Set that to the side. Especially with that light shining, it's showing off a lot of the floating fibers and stuff. So another way you can make the wings, there it is. So is you can use crystal flash, and this is this twisted plastic that has a shine to it. Shines bluish green. Wonder how to, about the same. So take Crystal Flash and any of those that I just did with the dubbing or the ostrich hurl or the marabou feathers, you can mix in that with it. For this particular one, just to show it off more, I'm just going to use only Crystal Flash and there's a little piece there I'm going to trim away. And like I said, half hitch, which is where I twist it around my finger. So I make a circle, put it over the eye of the hook, and then pull it tight. There is a whip finishing tool, but I struggle to use it, so I just do the half hitch, which does a similar job. Take some of that Sally Hansen. Anywhere that I touched, or anywhere that the thread wrap or that the half hitch is, that's where I go with the Sally Hansen. If I got some on the eye of the hook, you can either take another hook or you can take this tool and you can just push it there through the eye and clear out any of that sealant. Sometimes you can even buy hooks from the store and they still got like some sort of sealant or something through there. But yeah, so here is, it may just be better to leave that off. But yeah, this is a Yellow Sally with only Crystal Flash as the wings. So any of these patterns or these different ways and stuff would be a successful way of using it or making it. It's whichever way you prefer. Okay, so trying to think of what other way I want to do it. So for the next one, again, I'll do a size 12 caddis hook, and I'm still going to use the yellow thread. What thread I would use if I wanted to do the green, it would be this fluorescent chartreuse. This one would be 140 denier. This one, if you notice and stuff, it's on a wooden spool. This is actually Sewology, all-purpose, 100% polyester. Got it at Hobby Lobby. This big spool, it was on sale, I think, for $1. So bought those in every color. Polyester, 100% polyester works. It's not going to, disintegrate in the water. Okay, down the hook shank. Get off that thread. So, then with this one, yeah, I think I'll just do in order. I made a list of which ones to which ones I was going to make and to show. Okay, so another dubbing loop. Oh, there we go. Okay, then fan out that dubbing through the loop. And close touching spirals. And like before, 2 loops over, pull it back, and a couple loops here. Cut off that excess and the remaining dubbing out of the dubbing loop. Throw away the thread there. So now with this one, for the wings, I'm going to use whitetail deer hair. This is deer body hair, just a square of it. So you could use this. You could use this and dubbing. You could use this dubbing, crystal flash, any combination of them. So just going to take a clump like that, maybe a few less. Take that size, and I'm just going to cut it off the chunk there. So on here, you'll notice those little fibers at the end. That's like kind of under fluff under the deer hair. And you want to clear that out. That itself actually could be used as dubbing, like what I've been using on the body of these. This is actually a piece of rough Velcro on a stick, and you could actually go through, clean it out there. Because basically, if you had those the underfluff, the dubbing material, when you go to like tighten this down, it's basically taking up space that your thread is holding down the deer hair, and so it's not going to work as well. And that's for any fly pattern. So I'm just going to go 2 times over, and not too hard. I'm going to try and straighten this over kind of evenly on top. And then I'm going to start to pull it, and as you do, it starts to fray the little short ends. So I'm going to kind of pull that a little bit tighter, and let's trim that up. And basically what I'm doing here, I'm going to do a 1/2 inch on top. This is basically a yellow elk hair caddis. But upon researching, that's what people have done for a yellow Sally, and it still looks like a yellow Sally. It's a yellow bug, and it's got wings. And the deer hair will keep it floating around the surface, which is what you kind of want. It can be submersible or underneath it a little bit, underneath the surface of the water, I mean. Okay, so I got that on there. And yep, so there's some stray pieces there. Okay, so yep, that's another one. can't get it to focus, but yeah, deer hair, and it works good as the wing. So I'll put that over there. Kind of collecting them all. Probably post on X about that, showing all the different ones that I made. So the next one, so the 4 that I've made, with the dubbing body and the dubbing wings, which is the most common that I've made, or the dubbing body with the ostrich hurl wings. That was the first time I've made that. And then the one I've again continued to show as an example, yellow dubbing with marabou feathers as the wings. That's the second most common one that I've done. The dubbing body with the crystal flash as the wings, first time I made that. And then the yellow dubbing with the deer hair, that's the first time I've made that one. But any of these, like I said, will keep the fly near the surface. Which will imitate the adult yellow Sally. And again, I take the thread, go along the hook shank, cut off the tag end, and make another dubbing loop. And some of these extra pieces I had from earlier of the yellow dubbing, I'm going to tear off. I just need I think a hair more. Okay. And so this one is one that I haven't made, I haven't used, but I like the look of it. There we go. That was the correct amount of dubbing this time. And again, a couple wraps on top, a couple wraps behind. Cut off the dubbing loop. So for this one, so it's the yellow dubbing, same as all the rest of them, but then a little piece of yellow foam. And this will definitely keep it afloat. And I'm going to have it just behind the eye of the hook. And I'm going to do it a couple times to where it really pinches that foam down, so that foam isn't going to go anywhere, especially after fishing it for a while. And then, so for this particular one that I saw, this pattern that used the foam, they also used more deer hair. And again, I'm just cleaning out that under fluff, under hair there. And then I'm going to tie this right on top of that yellow foam. A couple loose wraps, so that I can kind of control how the deer hair is going to lay, and then pull it tight. And then I actually, if I wanted to, I could pull the part of the deer that frayed. I could pull that back. I could leave that. but I'm actually going to trim that short again. Because it's not really, to my knowledge, it's not really the use or what I'm trying to do here with this pattern. It doesn't do anything, and it doesn't, I don't think it doesn't look like Yellow Sally having that little part hanging out there. So do some half hitches, cut that. And then again with the Sally Hansen. And you can also use, instead of, Sally Hansen, I mean, you could use UV resin. You could use some brand of super glue. Any of that would be fine. Just with what I have and stuff, I like the Sally Hansen because it has the brush. I have a super glue there that has a brush. If I use the UV resin, you can use this tool and wave it around and get the UV resin where you want it. But yeah, so this one, again, I gotta figure this out. Again, this is my first live stream, so you got that yellow piece of foam, that is going to keep it up at the top. You got the deer hair, and deer hair is hollow, so that's going to keep that at the top as well. So this one will be more of a pattern that'll stay definitely towards the surface. Which, like I said, that's what you want. So there's those. So there was a pattern that I saw. So I'm going to take the yellow foam. And this one I haven't made before, like I said. And I don't think, I'm not sure about making it on the size 12. So I'm going to do this on a size 10 straight shank. So this, so I'm going to cut a larger rectangle, like 4 times as big as the little piece that I used there. So for this one, so I'm actually going to use some brown thread, and again, this wooden spool, it's the same thing. Got it from Hobby Lobby for $1. Soology, all-purpose, 100% polyester. So because this one is larger, the fly that I'm tying, it may look more like a maybe more mature Yellow Sally. So I'm going to cut, tagging away. So like I said, I haven't tied this before. So what I'm going to do is I think this is what I'll do. Might be a little bit too big, but it's the first time I've tried this pattern, so let's see what it does. So the idea is I'm going to tie this connection point where I'm tying the foam down. I'm going to have some dubbing off the top. Now in the example I saw, they also had legs. For right now, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to try and do the legs as well. But I'll take a little bit of white dubbing, like I said before. Just got a fluff there. I'm going to try and twist it around. And make kind of a rope. And then I'm going to go over so there a couple times in between them, a couple times in front. And I know it keeps twisting. The second tie down will help with that. So like I did in that first one, I'm just going to have it's V'd and it's tied in between it, and then it's tied in front of it to kind of also push the fibers back, but then also help to hold them down. Then I'm going to move the thread up the hook shank, but I'm doing it under the foam, so it's not on top and doesn't hold the foam down more, and you have all these brown thread wraps. So I'm just going to do it up here, and then now I go over, and again, 2, 3, 4 times, depending on what you'd like to do. I just do it until I know, or until I feel like, it's secure. So, again, just rolling that. And a couple wraps over that, and then some wraps in front of it. Again, kind of twisting that. So, and then, yeah, this was the pattern that they had, and so I'm actually going to half hitch over the hook eye. There we go. And I'm going to cut that a little bit shorter. So, and then maybe cut off these little edges, make it round, kind of look like a head that way. Had I left that piece of foam there at the top, and it floated enough, and you kind of did the strip setting when you're fishing, which is just 1 2 1 2 3, different pattern. If it floated up, it may slightly gurgle, or like a popper. I don't know that would work, but maybe. I'm actually going to cut them a little bit shorter. So it's this pattern, I guess, is kind of like a Pat's rubber legs. That's another fly pattern. You can look that one up. But it's a neat one. It's on the larger size, but that's what it is meant to do. But again, it also goes to show, how many ways you can tie, the same thing. Try to keep those separated. A little too much Sally Hansen's there. There we go. there. So between all of that, that'll keep it on there. And yeah, the white's too bright, and also can't get the camera to focus right now. That's also something I'm working on the channel and stuff, is going to get a new camera sometime in the future. So that'll help with sound. That'll help with sound and with video quality, and some of the ways I can arrange it. So yeah, there was that one. Then there is, so I think for this one, I'll still use the 12. We'll go back to the size 12 caddis hook. So, oh, yeah, I'm going to go back to the yellow thread. Didn't realize where I set it. I put the brown one away there. Yep, so around the hook shank, cut away the tagging. And I don't want a lot of dubbing for this one. And I'll actually show why in a second. Take my dubbing tool. Okay, there we go. And twist it around. And push it backwards, close to these spirals. Okay, so now a couple times over, a couple times in the front, cut away the dubbing loop. Okay, try and push that all in the back. So now with this one, which I haven't made this one before, I'm going to take just a little bit of deer hair again. Try and move that over. Now, and you don't want to do what I just did and cut on the underside of the hook shank, because that's usually where your thread and connection points are and stuff. So okay, so now I've got the dubbing body, I've got deer hair. So now the next one is I'm going to add hackle. So I've got solid white, which in the picture that I saw and stuff, solid white was what they used. However, this particular hackle it's too large. So if I were to wrap that and stuff, the fibers, bristles, whatever you want to say, of the feather would be out like this size on each. So don't want to use that. But what I have, and that will work just fine, is black, brown, and white hackle. I don't believe it was and stuff, but like Plymouth Barred Rock, one of those chickens. But I don't know, because there's more brown in this, so I'm not actually sure what kind of chicken this came from. And sometimes, yeah, sometimes I can just pluck the feather, and sometimes I actually have to use a scissors if the stem of the feather too strong. So, okay, so I'll put that there. So now working with the feather, with this one, as you can see, there's a lot of that, kind of like with the deer hair, there's like this under fluff. And then there's the nice clean stuff you want. This has its use too, but for the sake of what we're tying now, we're just going to remove all that stuff. So now we got this. I'm going to take the tip of it, and I'm going to get it just enough to where I can tie it down with the thread. I'm going to go right behind the eye of the hook. And with the feather, I'm going to get as close as I can to the deer hair. And I'm going to slowly wrap forward. And it's not laying quite how I'd like. You want to keep tension on it the whole time. And you want to do close touching spirals. Okay, I'm tightening that down. Now I'm going to cut away the larger unused part of the feather. And some of those fibers actually could be used in a future fly. So I'm going to tighten this down. And then a half hitch right behind the eye of the hook. Another half hitch. And again, I'm trying to make sure that none of the hackle gets caught in the half hitch. Because if it does, you either should redo it or have to trim it down, and then it just takes away the fibers, the feather fibers you were using. And just all around the thread there. And I think I'm actually going to trim up some of this excess yellow dubbing. So and again, it's not focusing the best, but trying different angles, but yeah. So you got the deer hair for the wings, and then you got the hackle, which would look more like a wing to the fish and in the water. The hackle and the deer hair, this will definitely keep it floating. This will definitely like sit on the surface. So I'm just gonna set it over there. And like anything, I mean, because when you have dubbing, It's it's fibers, cotton fibers, so it's going to absorb water. So the longer you fish with it, the more it's going to submerge and start to sink. And there's all different stuff that they make that they can't change that. Okay. There's different stuff that they make that you would just take the fly, you put it in basically like a white powder, you shake it and stuff, and it instantly dries and sucks out all the moisture, or as much as it can, out of the fly, and then um, yeah, you're ready to go. I have some of it. It's actually in my fishing vest, but I haven't ever used any of it yet. Um, but yeah. So what other pattern? So the last. There we go. So the last pattern I have is this one might actually look better on a straight shank hook, which I've started to try and make everything barbless with what I fish with. One, if it gets stuck in you, it's easier to pull out. And two, it's also easier on the fish, especially if you're fishing for trout. With trout, for a net, you'd want the netting to actually be rubber, so you'd want to buy one of those. It's easier on any of the fish, but it's definitely easier on trout. Trout are fragile fish. You can't hold them by the lip like you do a bass. They don't have the jaw strength and everything for it. So with hooks, the quicker and easier that you can get the hook out of their mouth and get them back to the water, the better. So that's why, especially with these smaller hooks, the size 10, 12, 14, 16, even the size 6s and 8s that I have, I've started doing barbless. So this one, it's from previous ones that I owned or that I got. They do have barbs, so I just take a pair of pliers and I smash down the barb. So and it does a fine job. You can run your finger over it and it doesn't catch or anything. So again, this one, doing the yellow thread and just going along the hook shank and then stopping at the bend of the hook. Cut off the little tag end. So with this one, I'm going to make the wings actually out of marabou. So this piece actually has some really long feathers and stuff, so I may actually cut them a little bit shorter after it's tied on. But yeah, so that one will have that. But this one actually does a little bit extra. So it'll have the dubbing, but then it'll also have this gold tinsel. And yeah, hollow tinsel, medium gold. So if you try and put this in a bobbin and use it like a thread, that's not going to work. This stuff's fragile. But if you're manually wrapping it around and everything, it'll work good. I'll show you that here in a second. So again, I'm going to grab just a little bit of dubbing, and that's actually way too much. So we got that. Then I'm going to take the tinsel and I'm going to tie it around Make sure it's secure within the thread wraps. And again, like I was saying earlier, when you're trying to get used to how much dubbing to use, how much foam to use, how much deer hair to use, that just comes with learning and trial and error. So this one, because I have an idea of how much tinsel I need to do the wraps, but the wraps, I may start to do it and then realize, hey, I need more. I also may cut it short where it works out perfectly, but then it's harder to work with because it's a smaller piece. But I'm going to say right about there. I think that's a little bit too much, but it'll be fine. So some of the threads and tinsels have this little plastic piece snaps on the end, and that way nothing unravels. Stays good under there. So set that back over there. So now I have that. So now I'm going to make the dubbing loop like I did before. Run the thread to the start of the hook. Take my dubbing tool. Oh goodness. And there we go. Spread that out. And there, start twisting the dubbing. Like I said, go until you start dubbing starts touching, and then some close touching spirals. You want the thread and the dubbing to touch up against the previous one you did. So there we go. I'm going to take the thread, again, a couple wraps on top of it, a couple wraps in front of it. It's secure. Cut off that thread. I don't know where that went. Could have dropped down, but it, for some reason, looked like it flew off. Okay, so now you got your thread here near the eye of the hook. So now you're going to take the tinsel. I'm going to start wrapping it around the dubbing body. And this will help hold the dubbing down while at the same time making it more of an attractor to the trout. And I'll try and, like the other ones, I'll try and get it closer to the camera. And then also, whether it's thread, whether it's that tinsel, any other material, or the hackle that I just worked with, I always wrap away from me, under the hook, over. So if you get into the habit of, hackle goes this way, but thread goes this way, one, I don't see how that's comfortable, but two, it, can cause issues. You can start unraveling, something you just tied. So for this one, I'm going to take a decent sized cut, but also, it's similar to, the deer hair, the amount of deer hair fibers, and I'm actually going to just go. I usually wrap marabou different, but I want to make sure it's on there. And I'm going to cut these kind of at an angle. because it was, I think, too long. Trying to cut away a little bit of the marabou that has hung over the edge. But, okay. And then a half hitch around the eye, half hitch. And as you've seen here, I do two half hitches, and that's always worked for me. So and again, just go over the thread. And I know that one, as I went underneath of it and stuff, I'm sure that it may have clogged up the eye of the hook. But like I said, you can take another hook, poke it into it, or one of these tools, go through and make sure it's all clear so that your line can go into it. But yeah, so this one, I cannot get it to focus. But yeah, so the body is dubbing wrapped with tinsel, and then the wings are marabou. So yeah, that's all the patterns that I had. If I can get them all to lay good. I don't know how well this will go, but yeah. So that right there, all different patterns. 6, 7, 8. So 8 patterns that I tied and showed you guys. And then the original that I was using as an example. Yeah, so that's 8 different ways that you can tie the same fly, that you can tie yellow Sally. All of them work, and it's whatever your preference is. Like I said, I just tie the yellow dubbing body and then have yellow or have white yellow or have white dubbing wings. And like I said, in 2024, that was the most successful fly that I had for everywhere that I went fishing, especially in Montauk State Park down near Eminence, Missouri, Salem, Missouri, the Current River, all that area. So I hope that that you found this, educational, beneficial in some way. Like I said, this is my first live stream, but I just wanted to do a live stream where I could talk about a specific fly pattern, what it imitates, and all the different ways there, all the different right ways there is to make the fly. But yeah, hope that you guys found it educational, and if in the comments below, if you guys wanted to mention any other flies that you'd like me to do a live stream with, or another idea for a live stream, I now that I have enough subscribers, I'm liking this. I like that I have the opportunity to do this, and there will be more, and they'll all be Sunday evenings. The videos that I put out, they will be on Saturday mornings. I usually schedule them for 8 a.m. For this, it started at 7 p.m. But yeah, that's the I don't know, schedule that I'm on, and that I'm happy doing. So I'm going to keep doing that. But yeah, videos on Saturdays and live streams on Sunday night. It won't be every Saturday and it won't be every Sunday, but yeah, just hope that you guys enjoyed it, and let me know, and please like and subscribe. So Yep. Thank you.